So we've reached the end of the course. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope it's been helpful for you, and I hope you're able to take what we've covered here and start developing your own projects. And now you've got the basics down, there are lots of directions you can go, so you can get into scripting if you want to. You can go and look at installers and code signing and all that kind of stuff, or you can get deeper into DSP. In this video, I just want to talk about a few of the resources that are available that you can follow as you take these next steps. And I'd also like to talk a little bit about the HISE community. So the first major resource, of course, is the HISE website. And if you haven't seen this already, you should go and have a look through it. It gives you a basic overview of HISE and shows you some example projects, and talks a little bit about the licensing, the commercial license and the open source license and that kind of thing. We also have a link here to the documentation, and the HISE documentation is very detailed, and if you want to get into scripting, for example, there is lots of information in here and lots of examples of how to use all the different functions and features, and this documentation is growing all the time. Christoph's adding new documents to it. Some of the documents are auto-generated from the source code, and other people are contributing to it as well. And hopefully once you get more into HISE, you'll also be able to contribute to it and help build out this resource for the community. If we go into HISE quickly, and I'll press F1, you can actually get that same documentation directly in HISE. The first time we do this, we have to download the documentation, so we'll just click OK here, and it's downloading the documentation. There we go. I don't find this interface is as easy to use as the website, but it's a great little resource to have, especially if you're working offline. The next major resource, and this is mainly for you guys who are a bit more advanced, is the HISE source code itself. So if you want to know how something works in HISE, then there's no better place to look than the source code. But of course, this does require that you can read the source code and understand it. Don't assume that you won't be able to gain something by looking through the source code. There's a lot in there that's quite human readable, and programming itself is designed to be human readable. So if you do want to go and just poke around in there and see if you can figure stuff out, it's a good exercise to do. The way you become a proficient programmer is to read lots of code and write lots of code, make a lot of mistakes, and solve them. So it's definitely worth checking out the HISE source code and just poking around in any bits that interest you. The next major resource is the HISE Forum, and if you're serious about HISE at all, you should be on this forum. This is where we have all our main discussions, this is where features are discussed, this is where bugs are discussed, and this is where you can also present your work and share it with other people. Later in this video I'll show you some other stuff specifically about the forum, but for now I just want to show you a couple more resources. In fact, I want to plug some of my own content here. So I've got my YouTube channel, which has, it says here, 203 videos, and the majority of those videos are HISE tutorials. I focus mainly on HISE scripting. I do cover some other subjects around HISE and sampling in general, a little bit about ScriptNode, but not much. Most of it's about the scripting side of things, and my personal interest is making sample libraries based on real acoustic instruments. So that tends to be where I go with my tutorials, but the information in them is kind of generic, and you can apply it to effects plugins and MIDI plugins and all kinds of other situations. And my other resource I want to plug, of course, is my Patreon page. So here you can join as a subscriber. You can see I've got 3 different tiers here. And every month I'll post a video on Patreon, and then at some point in the future that video will end up on YouTube. But throughout the month I also post additional content depending on which tier you're looking at on Patreon, and I'll post other resources and downloads and project files and stuff like that. So that stuff is exclusive to Patreon. I also offer a full HISE scripting course for beginners at audiodevschool.com. At the time of recording this video, that website isn't live, so that's why I'm not showing you it, but you'll find a link to it alongside this video. I'd like to just talk about a few things that can assist you when you're asking for help on the HISE forum, something that will make your life easier and get you more productive results, and also make life easier for the people who are responding to your queries. So let me just zoom in here. So I'm at the HISE forum, I'm logged in, and the first thing is the search function. So a lot of people complain the search on the HISE forum isn't very good. I think I'm one of the few people that find it to be quite adequate. So if you want to search for something, just type in what you want to search for. So let's say I want to search for the allow compilation feature of ScriptNode. So I hit enter and it brings up a load of stuff, but as you can see this isn't bringing up allow compilation. And at this point people think that the search system isn't very good, but what you need to do is just wrap this in quotation marks and now click search. And now you can see we get results specifically relating to the thing we're searching for. Allow compilation, allow compilation. So wrap it in quotation marks, and if that phrase exists anywhere on the forum, it will show up in the results. The next thing you can do if you want to narrow down the results, if you know sort of roughly when the thing was posted on the forum, or you want to search within a specific timeline, let's say you're not interested in things that are older than 6 months, you can go to this drop down here, the time drop down, and select newer than, and under the date, select 6 months, click the search button, and now you're only going to see things that have been posted more recently. If you know you want to see results from a specific forum member, you can filter that out through the posted by drop down. So if I only want to see results from Christoph, I can type his name in, and then select his name here, and then click search. And now I'm only going to see posts made by Christoph in the last 6 months that feature the phrase allow compilation. And as you can see, there are other filters here that you can use to narrow down the results even more, and you can choose if you want to see results that feature the phrase in the titles, the posts, or titles and posts, which is the default, and that's usually the one I leave it on, to be honest. So that's how you get the most out of the HISE forum search. Let's go back to the forum itself. So if you're making a post on the forum and asking for help, you'll click New Topic and it will come up like this. You can select a category, let's say, you've just got a general question. You can add some tags, so if it's about script node, you could type in script node. So here you can put a title for your post, and you should make it meaningful. Don't just put I have a bug or error or just one word phrases, it's not very useful. Put something meaningful so we can know in advance going in if that post is going to be something we can assist with or if it's something relevant to us. So you can say, for example, this is a good title, how can I achieve this pitch mod? That tells us straight away the guy's asking a question related to the pitch mod. He wants to know how he can do something related to that. So that's a good title. So next you'd add your post content, put in as much detail as you can, and if you're going to write any code in here, click this button to add code tags. And now the code will be formatted, and this looks really nice if you have a lot of code. I'll just duplicate this a few times. So if you have a big block of code, it's going to do something like that to format it. If you don't have the code tags, you end up with a big block of text, and that's not easy to read. Now I'm going to write some real code in here, just so you can see the formatting. So that's some real code. You don't have to understand what it means. You can just see that it formats it nicely, and if you want to be more specific, you can actually write the language you want to use here, and it will format it using, I put JavaScript. HISE script isn't actually JavaScript, but we use the JavaScript formatting and it just makes the code look a bit nicer. And if you're posting code in another language, maybe C++, you can put C++ there, and it would format it slightly differently and that kind of thing. Now these code tags are actually just backticks on your keyboard. So on my keyboard, they're next to the number 1 key. So I can just type these backticks in manually. And if you're just writing one line of code or even just one word of code, you can use a single backtick at the beginning and a single backtick at the end, and it will just highlight it. So you can do something like this. And it turns it red, so it stands out nicely in the post and makes it easy to read. If you're asking for help, especially with a bug or a crash in HISE, it's a good idea to post the git hash of the version of HISE you're using. So let's pull up HISE. So you can go to the help menu and select about HISE. And don't post the version number because it's pretty much meaningless. 4.1.0 covers a whole load of different versions of HISE. So instead you want to include the commit hash, this number, in your post. And that way we'll be able to look up the exact version of the HISE source code you're using to try to assist you more accurately. Something else you'll often see on the forum is when you're asking for help, somebody might say, can you post a snippet? And it's a very good idea to post a snippet. A snippet is basically a little snapshot of your project that somebody else can then load into their version of HISE to try out whatever it is that is the issue that you're having. And to get a snippet, you go to the export menu and you click on this button, export as HISE snippet, and that will copy a snippet to your clipboard. And then on the forum, using code tags, you will paste the snippet. And by using the code tags, it puts it all neatly on one line like this. If you don't use the code tags, let me show you what happens. You end up with a big block of ugly text like that, and it will actually take up a lot more room on the forum than just these 4 lines. So make sure that you post snippets within code tags to keep the forum tidy, and it also makes it really easy for people to just double click and copy your snippet. So once they've got your snippet, they can copy it like I just did there, and we would open a new instance of HISE. and then we can go to File and select Import HISE Snippet, and we are instantly in your project. We can see what you're seeing and try and figure out and solve whatever problem you have. Now, usually when posting a snippet, you're doing it because you have a very specific problem in your project, and your project might be massive, but the problem is like one tiny aspect of it. So maybe you have a problem, for example, with your peak meter. So in that case, what I would suggest, and what I always suggest on the forum, is post what's called a minimal snippet. So instead of posting the snippet of your entire project, you make a new project, you go to File and New, and you add only the things that are required to demonstrate the issue. So if it's with the peak meter, for example, I would add a peak meter. So I would connect this peak meter to a sampler. And because this is just a snippet for testing purposes, you don't have to worry too much about naming things. Although it's always good to name things sensibly if you can. So I would add the ID of the sampler in there, add the channels, click Apply, and then whatever else is related to the problem I'm trying to solve, I would add in here as well. So if there are other elements that are part of the issue. And then once I've added just the things that are required to demonstrate the problem and nothing extra, you want to keep it as minimal as possible, then I will go to Export and export as HISE Snippet, and then I would post this snippet on the forum. So if you ever see me or somebody else asking for a minimal snippet, this is what they mean. They mean make a new project that contains only the things required to demonstrate whatever the issue is that you need to solve. And this has another side benefit, which is often when you're creating these minimal snippets, you'll solve the problem yourself. And this happens to me all the time when I'm working on a larger project. If I run into a problem that I can't seem to solve in the context of the project, I'll make a separate little project and just try and isolate the problem, just put in the elements that are required to create the conditions that generate the problem, and in that process I often figure out the solution, or at least figure out the cause of the problem. And this is also a great learning tool when you're just starting out. Rather than making one massive project and trying to solve all the problems in there, break it up into little projects, solve the problems independently, and then reassemble the whole. Okay, and one final tip. Sometimes it's not enough to post just a snippet on the HISE forum. For whatever reason, maybe you need to include the samples or some other external files that aren't embedded in a snippet. Then it becomes necessary to share your HISE project folder. So when you're doing that, there are certain folders in here that you shouldn't share. Not because they're confidential or anything like that, although if they are, then obviously you shouldn't share them, but because they are just large and don't need to be shared, and it's just a waste of resources uploading gigabytes of data that isn't required. So I'll show you which folders you don't need. So let's highlight all of them. So the ones you don't need to share. You don't need to share the binaries folder, because this only contains information for when you're compiling the plugin. So you don't need to do that. Whoever receives the folder can compile the project themselves. You don't need to share the DSP networks folder unless you're trying to debug an issue with a DSP network. You don't need to share the pooled resources folder, so you can leave that one out. That one can be quite large. Generally, you don't need to share the samples folder, so I'd leave that out unless the issue you're trying to fix specifically needs the samples to be there. But in that case, what I would encourage you to do is to make a minimal project with just a few samples in it to demonstrate the problem, so that you don't have to ship all of your samples. The other folders I would generally include. I wouldn't include the HR file though, because again, it's just a big file, and whoever gets the project folder can recreate that themselves. So that's it. Congratulations, you've finished the course, you've built a couple of projects, you've made perhaps your first plugins, and you can now go and explore this wonderful world of audio software development. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below this video or alongside this video, depending on where you're watching it, and you can always send me an email as well, or message me on the HISE forum. Once again, thank you for joining me. It's been a real pleasure to present HISE to you and provide this content, and I really look forward to chatting with you on the HISE forum. So, bye for now.